The vision to influence advantage. How to position your value, command authority, and attract opportunity. Written by Daniel Eremasele. Contents. Introduction. The distance between potential and influence. Part 1. Position your value. Chapter 1. The positioning paradox. Chapter 2. From ambition to visionary clarity. Chapter 3. Message mastery. Part 2. Command authority. Chapter 4. Persuasion with integrity. Chapter 5. The authority of presence. Part 3. Attract opportunity. Chapter 6. Influence deployment. Chapter 7. Building a magnet identity. Chapter 8. Relationships, networks, and strategic access. Chapter 9. Premium value and transformational results. Chapter 10. The vision to influence advantage blueprint. Conclusion. The imperative of action. Introduction. The distance between potential and influence. Ambition is powerful, but ambition alone is not a strategy. It can awaken desire, fuel discipline, and keep a person moving through difficult seasons, yet it cannot guarantee recognition, access, or lasting influence. Many capable people work intensely for years without seeing results that reflect the quality of their ideas. Their problem is not always a lack of talent. Often, the real problem is that their value has not been positioned, communicated, and deployed in a way the world can clearly recognize. This is the central challenge addressed by the vision to influence advantage. How does a person move from possessing potential to producing visible impact? How does an ambitious professional, entrepreneur, leader, creator, or reformer translate an internal vision into a message that attracts the right people, earns trust, and opens the way to meaningful opportunity? The answer is not louder self-promotion. It is the disciplined alignment of identity, message, evidence, relationships, and service. Influence is not merely popularity. Popularity may create attention, but influence creates movement. It changes decisions, redirects resources, inspires commitment, and produces results beyond the immediate reach of the individual. Genuine influence is therefore both a privilege and a responsibility. It must be built on truth, competence, character, and a sincere commitment to creating value for others. This manuscript presents a practical framework built around the 3 promises in its subtitle. First, position your value through visionary clarity and message mastery. Second, command authority through ethical persuasion, credible presence, and demonstrated results. Third, attract opportunity through influence deployment, strategic relationships, and magnet identity. Together, these disciplines create the vision to influence advantage. The goal is not to manufacture an impressive image that conceals weakness. It is to bring your presentation into honest alignment with your potential, strengthen that potential through disciplined development, and make your contribution easier for the right people to understand and engage. Your vision deserves more than private admiration. It deserves a structure through which it can serve the world. Part 1. Position your value. Clarify your vision, define your value, and master the message that makes your contribution understandable. Chapter 1. The positioning paradox. Key principle. Value creates influence when it is communicated clearly, supported by evidence, and expressed with integrity. Most ambitious people assume that good work will eventually speak for itself. Good work certainly matters, but it rarely speaks without interpretation. Results must be understood, relevance must be established, and value must be connected to a problem that another person urgently wants solved. Without this bridge, excellent work can remain overlooked while a less capable but more clearly positioned alternative receives the opportunity. The positioning paradox is simple. The people with the greatest need to be seen often feel the greatest discomfort about making their value visible. They fear appearing proud, commercial, or overly ambitious. Consequently, they describe themselves vaguely, wait to be discovered, and hope that decision-makers will somehow recognize the depth of what they offer. Meanwhile, the marketplace is making choices with limited time and incomplete information. Positioning is the deliberate act of helping people understand who you are, what you solve, whom you serve, and why your approach matters. It is not pretending to be superior. It is reducing confusion. When your positioning is weak, people must work too hard to interpret you. When it is strong, they can quickly identify the relationship between your ability and the desired outcome. Consider two consultants with comparable knowledge. The first says, I provide business consulting and leadership support. The second says, I help founder-led companies build the management systems that allow the business to grow without depending on the founder for every decision. The second statement is more influential because it names a specific audience, a recognizable problem, a valuable outcome, and a distinct area of competence. The global marketplace does not consistently reward the person who works the longest hours. It rewards value that can be recognized, trusted, and applied. Effort remains essential, but effort without strategic visibility may produce exhaustion rather than advancement. The visionary must therefore learn to combine substance with signal, real capability supported by clear communication and credible evidence. Positioning begins with three questions. What meaningful problem am I equipped to solve? For whom is that problem urgent and valuable? What evidence demonstrates that I can help? Honest answers create the foundation of authority. They move you from a general desire to succeed toward a precise contribution that others can understand. A positioning deficit is corrected neither by empty confidence nor by aggressive promotion. It is corrected by becoming more useful, more specific, and more credible. The aim is not to be known by everyone. It is to become clearly valuable to the right people. Chapter 2. From Ambition to Visionary Clarity. Ambition says, I want to achieve more. Vision says, I can see a better future, I understand why it matters, and I am prepared to help build it. The difference is direction. Ambition supplies energy. Vision gives that energy a destination. Without a clear destination, ambition can become restless comparison, scattered activity, or the pursuit of status without contribution. Visionary clarity begins with definition. You must describe the future you intend to create in language concrete enough to guide decisions. A vague vision such as, I want to be successful, cannot determine priorities. A stronger vision identifies the people you want to serve, the change you want to produce, the standards you will uphold, and the kind of institution or legacy you intend to build. Clarity also requires boundaries. Every attractive opportunity is not a suitable opportunity. Some invitations provide income while weakening identity. Others increase visibility but pull the visionary away from the work for which they are best equipped. A mature vision gives you the courage to decline options that are impressive but misaligned. To clarify your vision, examine 4 dimensions. First is purpose. Why must this work exist? Second is people, whose lives, organizations, or communities should improve because of it. Third is problem. What condition are you committed to changing? Fourth is picture. What will be visibly different when the vision succeeds? These dimensions transform aspiration into a strategic direction. Vision must then be translated into priorities. Decide what must be built during the next 12 months, what capabilities must be strengthened, what relationships must be cultivated, and what evidence must be produced. Long-term influence is created through short-term faithfulness. The visionary who cannot convert a grand idea into today's disciplined action will remain inspired but ineffective. Clarity is also communicative. If people cannot repeat your vision after hearing it, it is probably too complicated. This does not mean the vision itself must be small. It means its central meaning must be memorable. A clear vision creates alignment because collaborators can see where they fit and why their contribution matters. Ambition becomes transformational when it is disciplined by service. Ask not only, how far can I go? But also, what value can travel through me? This shift protects the visionary from ego and establishes influence on a foundation larger than personal advancement. Chapter 3. Message Mastery. A strong message is the verbal architecture of influence. It gives shape to your ideas, organizes your value, and enables other people to understand why they should listen, trust, and act. Without message mastery, a visionary may possess remarkable insight but communicate it in fragments that fail to create conviction. The first discipline of message mastery is simplification. Simplification is not the removal of depth, it is the organization of depth. Experts often speak from the inside of their knowledge, using language familiar to them but confusing to others. Effective communicators begin with the audience's reality. They name the problem in familiar terms, explain what is at stake, and then introduce a credible path forward. A useful core message contains 4 elements: the audience, the problem, the promise, and the process. The audience identifies whom you serve. The problem identifies the costly frustration or missed opportunity. The promise describes the desired transformation. The process reveals the distinctive method through which you help create that transformation. For example, I help ambitious founders whose growth has made them the bottleneck build clear leadership systems, so their companies can scale with greater freedom and accountability. This sentence does not explain every service. It earns the next question. That is the immediate purpose of a core message, not to close every conversation, but to open the right one. Message mastery also demands relevance. The same value may need to be framed differently for an investor, a customer, a strategic partner, an employee, or a public audience. The truth remains consistent, but the emphasis changes according to the listener's priorities. An investor may care about scalability and risk. A customer may care about reliability and results. An employee may care about meaning, expectations, and growth. Stories deepen a message because they allow people to see transformation rather than merely hear claims. A credible influence story follows a simple movement: the situation before, the obstacle encountered, the decision or intervention made, and the measurable or meaningful result. The strongest stories center the beneficiary, not the visionary's ego. Evidence completes the message. Testimonials, case studies, demonstrated expertise, consistent publishing, documented outcomes, and respected associations help others assess credibility. Claims create interest. Evidence reduces uncertainty. The more significant the opportunity, the more important this proof becomes. Finally, practice your message until it becomes natural without becoming mechanical. Prepare versions that can be delivered in 1 sentence, 1 minute, 5 minutes, and a full presentation. Mastery creates flexibility. You are then able to communicate with calm precision whether you are meeting one person, addressing a boardroom, or speaking to a global audience. Part 2. Command authority. Build trustworthy influence through integrity, executive presence, evidence, and transformational results. Chapter 4. Persuasion with integrity. Persuasion is often misunderstood because it has sometimes been used to pressure, deceive, or exploit. Yet persuasion itself is morally neutral. Its ethical quality depends on the truth of the message, the intention of the communicator, and the freedom preserved for the listener. Ethical persuasion helps people understand value and make informed decisions. Manipulation hides relevant truth or uses fear and confusion to control the outcome. A visionary must never use influence to compensate for the absence of substance. If the promise is larger than the capacity to deliver, persuasion becomes dangerous. Sustainable authority is built when expectation and experience agree. Therefore, before improving your sales language, improve the quality of your offer, your systems, and your ability to produce results. Trust grows through congruence. Your words, conduct, standards, and outcomes should tell the same story. If you speak about excellence but repeatedly deliver late, the inconsistency weakens your message. If you promote partnership but treat people as instruments, your behavior exposes the contradiction. Influence cannot remain strong where character continually undermines communication. Ethical persuasion respects the intelligence of the audience. It presents a clear problem, explains the implications, offers a realistic solution, acknowledges appropriate limitations, and invites a decision. It does not manufacture false urgency, conceal material costs, or promise guaranteed outcomes in situations shaped by multiple variables. The most persuasive leaders are often excellent listeners. They do not enter every conversation determined to deliver a prepared speech. They ask thoughtful questions, identify what matters to the other person, and determine whether genuine alignment exists. Listening is not a pause before persuasion. It is part of persuasion because it allows the message to respond to reality. Integrity may sometimes require you to say that your solution is not the right fit. Although this can appear costly in the moment, it strengthens long-term reputation. People remember professionals who protect them from a poor decision. Such honesty can create referrals, future opportunities, and trust that no clever technique can purchase. Influence becomes honorable when it expands the listener's capacity to choose wisely. The visionary's responsibility is not merely to win agreement, but to create clarity. When persuasion is grounded in truth, competence, empathy, and mutual benefit, it becomes a form of service. Chapter 5: The Authority of Presence. Before people can evaluate the full depth of your work, they encounter your presence. Presence is the combined impression created by your preparation, composure, language, attention, appearance, and ability to contribute meaningfully. It is not theatrical confidence. It is the visible evidence that you understand your value and respect the environment you have entered. Authority begins before the meeting. Research the people, organization, context, and decisions involved. Know the vocabulary of the room without hiding behind jargon. Anticipate likely questions and prepare concise evidence. A prepared person does not need to dominate the conversation because preparation creates quiet confidence. Composure is especially important under pressure. Influential professionals can disagree without becoming defensive, receive difficult questions without losing clarity, and admit what they do not know without surrendering credibility. They separate the challenge to an idea from a challenge to their identity. This emotional discipline makes others feel safe in trusting them with greater responsibility. Voice and language also shape perception. Speak at a measured pace, complete your thoughts, and avoid weakening every statement with unnecessary apologies or uncertainty. At the same time, do not confuse aggression with authority. The strongest presence combines conviction with respect. Contribution is more important than performance. Instead of asking, "How can I impress this room?" ask, "What insight, connection, question, or solution can I contribute?" This change in focus reduces self-consciousness. People are drawn to those who improve the quality of the conversation. Presence extends into digital spaces. Your biography, profile, website, published ideas, visual presentation, and communication habits should reinforce the same professional identity. Conflicting signals create hesitation. Consistent signals create recognition. Every public touchpoint should help the right audience understand your focus, standards, and value. Authority is not declared once. It is demonstrated repeatedly. Arrive prepared. Listen carefully. Speak clearly. Honor commitments. Follow through. Over time, these ordinary disciplines create an extraordinary reputation. Part 3. Attract opportunity. Deploy your influence, cultivate strategic relationships, and develop a reputation that draws aligned opportunities. Chapter 6. Influence deployment. A message can be excellent and still remain ineffective if it never reaches the right environment. Influence deployment is the strategic placement of your ideas, expertise, and presence where they can intersect with relevant need. It moves the visionary from random visibility to purposeful visibility. Begin by identifying your rooms. These may be industry associations, conferences, professional communities, boards, digital platforms, podcasts, publications, private networks, or client conversations. The best room is not always the largest. A small gathering of relevant decision-makers may create more opportunity than a large audience with little connection to your work. Next, define your contribution strategy. You can contribute through teaching, writing, research, introductions, problem-solving, mentoring, convening, or sharing useful tools. Consistent contribution makes you visible without making every interaction a sales attempt. It allows others to experience your thinking before they're asked to purchase or partner. Owned platforms are particularly valuable. A newsletter, podcast, channel, event series, book, or professional community allows you to communicate without waiting for permission from traditional gatekeepers. Ownership does not eliminate the need for collaboration, but it reduces dependence on borrowed attention. Borrowed platforms also matter. Speaking on an established stage, contributing to a respected publication, or collaborating with a trusted leader can transfer credibility and introduce your message to an aligned audience. Approach these opportunities with a service mindset. Propose a useful contribution rather than merely asking for exposure. Deployment requires repetition. One appearance rarely establishes authority. People may need to encounter a coherent message several times, in different formats, before they remember and trust it. Repetition should reinforce the central idea while adding fresh depth, evidence, or application. Measure deployment by more than views or applause. Track the quality of conversations created, the relevance of relationships formed, the invitations received, the problems you are asked to solve, and the outcomes generated. Visibility is valuable only when it supports meaningful influence. Strategic placement does not mean being everywhere. It means being consistently present where your contribution is most relevant. Focus creates familiarity, and familiarity supported by evidence becomes authority. Chapter 7. Building a magnet identity. A magnet identity is a professional reputation so clear and credible that your name becomes associated with a particular kind of value. When a relevant problem arises, people think of you. When an opportunity appears, your name enters the conversation even when you are not in the room. This identity is not created by a logo alone. It emerges from the repeated alignment of promise, behavior, and outcome. Your message tells people what to expect. Your conduct reveals how you work. Your results confirm whether the expectation was justified. Consistency across these dimensions creates trust at scale. Choose the association you want your name to carry. Perhaps it is strategic clarity, organizational transformation, ethical leadership, creative innovation, financial discipline, or the development of people. The association must be both meaningful to the market and authentic to your strongest contribution. Then build a body of proof. Publish useful insights. Document transformations. Develop frameworks. Collect credible testimonials with permission. Show the process behind the result where appropriate. Proof gives people language with which to recommend you. It turns admiration into advocacy. Reputation also depends on experience. How do people feel after working with you? Were expectations clear? Was communication timely? Did you make complexity easier to manage? Did you honor the relationship after the transaction? The emotional memory of an experience often travels further than the technical details. A magnet attracts, but it also repels what is misaligned. Strong identity will not appeal to everyone, and it should not. Clear standards, focus, and values help unsuitable opportunities exclude themselves. This protects energy and creates space for deeper alignment. Guard your identity through integrity and patience. A reputation can take years to build and moments to damage. Do not trade long-term trust for short-term attention. Avoid controversies manufactured only for visibility, claims unsupported by evidence, and partnerships that contradict your stated values. Eventually, a well-built identity begins to carry opportunity toward you. Invitations replace some applications. Referrals replace some cold approaches. Premium conversations become easier because trust has begun before contact. This is not accidental magnetism. It is the compound return on clarity, contribution, consistency, and character. Chapter 8. Relationships, Networks, and Strategic Access. Influence travels through relationships. No visionary fulfills a significant vision alone. Ideas require supporters, interpreters, collaborators, customers, mentors, team members, and sometimes courageous gatekeepers. Strategic access is therefore not merely about entering elite rooms, it is about building relationships worthy of trust within them. Networking becomes shallow when it is driven only by extraction. Entering every conversation with the hidden question, "What can this person do for me?" creates pressure that others can feel. A healthier approach begins with curiosity and contribution. Learn what people are building, what challenges they face, and where genuine mutual value may exist. Build relationships before emergencies. Do not contact people only when you need money, an introduction, endorsement, or opportunity. Stay connected by sharing relevant resources, celebrating progress, offering thoughtful assistance, and maintaining honest interest. Relationships strengthened in ordinary seasons are more resilient in decisive moments. Your network should include several forms of relationship. Mentors provide wisdom shaped by experience. Peers provide encouragement, challenge, and collaboration. Sponsors use their credibility to advocate for you in rooms you have not yet entered. Team members multiply execution. Clients and beneficiaries provide insight into the real value of your work. Strategic introductions should be handled with care. When someone opens a door, prepare thoroughly and honor the trust transferred to you. Respond promptly, communicate professionally, and avoid placing the introducer in an awkward position. Access may be offered once, but stewardship determines whether it expands. Do not confuse proximity with relationship. Being photographed with influential people does not mean you possess their trust. Trust is developed through repeated reliability, discretion, contribution, and shared experience. Focus less on appearing connected and more on becoming a person whom others are confident to connect. The strongest networks are ecosystems of mutual advancement. They are not built around one person collecting contacts, but around people exchanging insight, opportunity, support, and accountability. When you become a responsible connector of people and possibilities, your influence grows because you are creating value beyond your immediate interests. Chapter 9. Premium Value and Transformational Results. Premium positioning is not permission to charge more for ordinary value. It is the responsibility to deliver a higher level of clarity, confidence, experience, and outcome. Price becomes easier to defend when the value being created is meaningful, the process is credible, and the cost of the unsolved problem is clearly understood. Many professionals underprice because they describe inputs rather than outcomes. They speak about hours, meetings, documents, or features. Buyers, however, are often investing in reduced risk, accelerated progress, increased revenue, improved capability, saved time, stronger reputation, or freedom from a persistent constraint. The visionary must connect the work to the transformation without exaggerating what can be guaranteed. Premium value begins with diagnosis. A generic solution cannot command the same confidence as a solution shaped by a deep understanding of the client's context. Ask questions that reveal the present condition, desired outcome, obstacles, consequences of delay, previous attempts, decision criteria, and available resources. Design the offer around a clear journey. Define the starting point, the stages of work, the responsibilities of each party, the evidence of progress, and the intended destination. Reduce uncertainty by communicating scope, timelines, assumptions, and boundaries. Professional clarity is itself part of the value. Do not apologize for fair pricing, but do not use confidence as a substitute for justification. Explain the value, provide suitable evidence, and allow the stakeholder to decide. If price resistance is frequent, examine whether the audience is wrong, the message is unclear, the proof is insufficient, or the offer is not differentiated. Results must be documented. Establish meaningful indicators before the work begins, review them during delivery, and record what changed. Some transformations are financial, others involve time, confidence, organizational maturity, reach, quality, or risk. Documentation improves learning and strengthens future credibility. Premium authority is sustained through continuous improvement. After every engagement, Ask what worked, what created friction, what should be standardized, and what new capability must be developed. The market may first notice your message, but it will remember your results. Chapter 10. The Vision to Influence Advantage Blueprint. The vision to influence advantage becomes real through execution. The following blueprint is designed as a 90-day cycle that can be repeated and strengthened. Its purpose is to align the visionary's identity, message, visibility, relationships, and evidence around a clear field of contribution. Days 1 to 30, clarify. Define the problem you are best equipped to solve and the audience for whom it matters. Audit your skills, experience, results, values, and existing reputation. Write a one-sentence positioning statement. Develop a concise professional biography and identify 3 central ideas you want to be known for. Remove confusing or contradictory messages from your public profiles. During this first phase, identify capability gaps honestly. Positioning cannot permanently outrun competence. Select one skill, qualification, system, or body of knowledge that will materially improve your delivery. Create a development plan with specific weekly actions. Days 31 to 60. Build and demonstrate. Turn your knowledge into visible assets. Write articles, record short teachings, produce a useful guide, develop a framework, or present a workshop. Create at least one substantial piece of evidence, a case study, pilot result, portfolio example, testimonial, or documented process. Let your content demonstrate how you think rather than merely announcing that you are available. In this phase, refine an offer connected to a measurable transformation. Define its scope, process, boundaries, and intended result. Test the language with trusted people from the target audience. Listen for confusion and revise until the value can be understood quickly. Days 61 to 90. Deploy and deepen. Select a small number of relevant rooms and platforms. Contribute consistently. Initiate thoughtful conversations with potential collaborators, clients, mentors, and partners. Ask for introductions only when there is clear relevance, and always make the introduction easy to understand and safe to offer. Create a weekly rhythm, 1 act of public contribution, 3 meaningful relationship touches, 1 improvement to your offer or system, and 1 review of evidence and feedback. Small actions performed consistently create more authority than occasional bursts of self-promotion. At the end of 90 days, review 5 measures: message clarity, quality of opportunities, strength of relationships, visible evidence, and delivery capability. Record what has improved, what remains weak, and what the next cycle must emphasize. Transformation is not a single campaign. It is a disciplined process of becoming, contributing, and refining. Expect resistance. Some people will not understand your shift. Early content may receive little response. Invitations may take time. Do not interpret silence as final rejection. Use it as information. Improve the message, deepen the substance, and continue placing value before the right audience. The visionary who follows this blueprint will gradually move from scattered ambition to coherent authority. The goal is not instant fame. It is strategic significance. To become trusted for work that matters and equipped to steward the opportunities that trust creates. Conclusion. The imperative of action. Ambition is the catalyst that begins the journey, but influence is the capacity that extends its impact. Between the two stands a series of deliberate choices: to clarify the vision, master the message, persuade with integrity, enter the right environments, build trustworthy relationships, produce evidence, and deliver results worthy of recognition. You do not need to wait for universal approval before beginning. You need sufficient clarity to take the next faithful step. Refine the sentence, publish the insight, improve the offer, enter the conversation, serve the client, document the result, honor the relationship. Each action becomes part of the reputation you are building. Remember that public attention cannot sustain an empty promise, while excellent work may remain limited when nobody understands it. The vision to influence advantage aligns credible substance with purposeful communication. It makes genuine value understandable and accessible, allows competence to meet opportunity, and enables vision to become service. Your vision is too consequential to remain concealed, but its significance must be demonstrated through disciplined action. Do not merely desire influence, become trustworthy enough to carry it. Do not merely seek opportunity, build the value, clarity, and character that make opportunity meaningful. Your vision to influence advantage begins now. Practical reflection. Your personal transformation audit. Can the right audience understand my value in one clear sentence? What problem do people consistently trust me to solve? What evidence supports the claims I make about my work? Which rooms, platforms, and relationships are most relevant to my vision? Does my public identity communicate one coherent professional association? Where does my present capability need to grow before my positioning can advance? What valuable contribution will I make publicly this week? What result will I document during the next 90 days? Copyright 2026 Daniel Eremisele. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means without prior written permission from the copyright holder, except for brief quotations used in reviews or scholarly reference. Thank you sincerely for spending this time with us. We trust that this message has strengthened your vision and equipped you to move from ambition into meaningful influence. Until we connect again, remain blessed. Continue exploring and developing the treasures God has placed within you, and remember to listen to our other inspirational materials. We would be grateful to receive your feedback and to hear how this audiobook has encouraged, blessed, or transformed your life. Please like this audiobook and subscribe to our channel so that together we can reach and inspire more people. Thank you once again.